What if all do Japan formed an empire? With Japan becoming fascist again. It starts to destroy. Sorry about that. Buff game thing. It just happens. Sadly. I'll color Japan in with red. With the Japanese, first of all, building up a new military. They're not gonna attack Taiwan because that'll trigger this man. But after building up a military, they get a war with South Korea. With Japan making a couple landings. One being over here, over here, over here, and over here. Oh yeah, also over here. They build all these fronts into two giant fronts, almost one. As South Korea looks out, the front line is broken and South Korea is split. With the tiniest South Korean encouragement being almost barely connecting it, and then connecting it bigger. The Japanese again split in two with this. Just making another couple encouragements. Now there's 2, 3, 4 parts together. The great Japanese Empire will start to begin. With them beginning using their entire force and wiping out South Korea. The treaty is for annexation. Them building up another military, a new military, more military actually. People just well do something. Now the Japanese go to war with a nation that I think not too many people care about, Papua New Guinea. Sorry if that offended anybody from Papua New Guinea who watches my videos. But I do not know too much about it, and it's just overall a country I don't think too many people know much about. What a gigantic start coming in as the Japanese build a giant take of Bougainville and take this. The treaty is, you guessed it, for annexation. Now sending an ultimatum to New Zealand and doing this. New Zealand has to accept or else further war will begin. So that's Japan right now. And it's not done with this conquest yet. With Japan rebuilding up their military again. Then going to Cambodia. Japan just decides to send not their entire military, but not too much of their military, but their entire. They just send like maybe a fourth of their military and take all of Cambodia. Now they go on a spree. Take Laos. And And with them not having a colony in Southeast Asia, they're gonna have a colony in Russia. But the Russia-Ukraine war is somehow still going on. But Russia seems like they're going to win as they have all this land, and Ukraine performed an offensive in this area, but not nearly as big as the Russian offensive, and with Japanese quickly taking Sakhalin. And this, and with this angle, and with them officially taking his port on Siberia, being sick of it, and officially declaring independence from Russia. And with Siberia, and with all of this area becoming Japanese or more well and with them going to this area, and with this happening, Russia's starting to fall as Ukraine starts to push the Russians back, but not into Crimea. Ukraine cannot enter Crimea. Russia puts their entire military into Siberia, starting to take it back. With the Japanese really keeping it together and starting and Ukraine starting to push back a bit more and officially kicking the Russians out of all their territory. And Russia's starting to crumble. Guess who joins the war? The Finlands. And with all the Baltics and starting to form the biggest front line yet, the Russians starting to crumble. As and with them officially sieging St. Petersburg, but Siberia not being able to fully survive. Siberia now again rebels as Russian troops has to go to protect their mainland. with all of Siberia starting to form. The biggest Russia surrounds on all sides and surrender. And with the treaty being this. Ow, that must hurt for Russia. Finland gets all this area. The Baltics get all these areas. Estonia, Latvia. Oh yeah, this area just becomes its own puppet state of this one. What's happening? And North Korea getting quickly invaded. Korea dies. All of Korea, once again, is under Japanese control. With them building up enough military to attack China. With Japan getting aid from the U.S. because we all know the U.S. hates China. The Japanese make a giant front line on this area. And the entire coast of China become Japanese coast. As China makes a new encirclement, taking the entire northern Japanese island, taking Sakhalin, and other parts of Siberian lands. Acquired Russian territory. It's used to go to make a giant area. But let's just say something doesn't work out for China, and Tibet declares its independence. As long as also Taiwan joins the war on the side of Japan. Well, democratic areas. Taiwan funds democratic rebellions in all of this area of China, and Japan gets its things together and pushes China fully. And with them taking back most of their land, except their own territory, the northern Japanese islands, and all this area starts to fall. Another area, and with China having to surrender to the Japanese and the Taiwanese. The treaty is just to show you how much the Japanese took from China. They took all this area. Ow. They took this tiny area. Tibet gets independence. China still exists. But it doesn't have any coast. It still borders India, so there can still be hatred. And the Democratic Taiwanese. The Taiwanese form a Democratic Republic of China. But this is now named Taiwan, and this is named China, other known as the Republic of China. Now I'll fill in the borders. With the Japanese Empire being this, I forgot to fill in this area. And the Japanese Empire are being finished, except for this time. But with them having to, rebuild their military after that giant invasion of China. While that happens, a new coalition forms between these nations. Myanmar, Thailand, the Filipino Islands, Indonesia, Guinea, Brunei, Australia, the remaining Chinese, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, the remaining Mongolia, which surprisingly hasn't been attacked, all of Central Asia, like all of it, and Pakistan. With this being the anti-Japanese coalition, aka the AJC, for which Japan making its own coalition against the anti-Japanese coalition. And Taiwan, other known as now the Republic of China, Tibet, India joins just to hate Pakistan, Siberia, they have to get independence from us, Ukraine, all these nations. This area doesn't. And with this area, this coalition, now becoming this areas. And a new Japanese coalition. And voila, they're ready to destroy this entire Don't mind this. There, it's better. And with this being the Great Coalition of Japan, the Japanese allies these nations actually now being scared. So nations like Poland have to join, but it will never work with China. They have to. Iran, Finland actually joins the Japanese allies since they helped form the empire. With the remaining Russian Empire, and with this joining, the entire side flips. The greatest war yet happens. And with Russia being defended. And Siberia just helping aid Siberia actually being on front lines. So they have to. This ends up with a Japanese victory, but I cannot form the rule because some of these nations just will not fill in. So it ends with a Japanese Empire victory. See you later, guys. Peace.